Okay, hello. Sorry for the background noise. I had to take a little bit of a break, man, because I was just dealing with some things. But I've been wanting to make a video for a while now, so I decided, start with this. Now, this is a video of a YouTuber named King of the Fourth Quarter. I'm gonna put the link to the original video in the description, but you should definitely go check it out. I love the guy's channel. He's fantastic with his basketball analysis or his basketball viewpoints, and it's very entertaining to watch. I've seen this video float around for quite a while, the 10 minutes of Jim Boylan, and I just wanted to react to snippets of this video and just give my thoughts on what I'm hearing, versus what I think, and we'll just take it from there. So let's get to it. Now, the first clip that I'm going to show from the video is his reaction to one of the fans berating Jim Boylan, which I think is incredibly disrespectful. And that's one of my biggest issues with fans, is that sometimes they don't know how to separate reality from what they see on a basketball court, a football field, a baseball diamond. They don't know how to separate that from the person, because who you see on the court, whether it's a good person, a bad person, whatever, that does not mean that that's who they are off whatever field, court, whatever that they work on. That doesn't mean that they're the same person off that. But let's just hear what this fan says and his reaction.
I already know this first clip.
Any smart person would fire you. You're a clown, buddy.
And listen,
real quick before he says anything, this is the kind of thing that destroys franchises. This is the kind of thing, the constant berating, the constant questioning, the humiliation that some coaches have to deal with on a daily basis. And sometimes people don't even understand that, they have kids that watch them work. They have families that attend games with them. They have families that watch this stuff on TV. And when you hear people talk about these GMs and these head coaches in such a terrible fashion, it's like they don't take into account that, this dude has a family who probably looks up to him, who thinks that he's a great coach, who thinks that he's a great GM, who, and sometimes people can let the game become a little too personal. And that fan was one of those people that let it become too personal. So let's hear what he thinks.
listen, I agree what that fan is saying, but it's not very cool. Because Jim Boylan, from everything I've experienced with him, is a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? He's just bad.
Well, he was going to say he's just bad at his job. This is why the Chicago Bulls haven't won anything, and as long as they have not won anything, this is exactly why. Because this team has been bad for years, but because Jim Boylan isn't doing everything, I guess, that people think he should be doing to turn this franchise around, I mean, he's getting a lot of the blame. If I'm being honest, I think Zach LaVine needs to get some blame. Laurie Marketing needs to get some blame. The front office needs to get the people that have been around for a very long time with this franchise that has been less than subpar for the better part of damn near 10 years. All right, this is the first actual clip from the video that he watched. This is Jim Boylan's reaction to a question that one of the interviewers, to one of the questions that one of the interviewers, or one of the media people, one of the reporters. Oh my God, I couldn't even think of the name. To a question one of the reporters had. Let's get to it.
Mad at him at sometimes, but I wouldn't attack him personally like that. But let me see at the end of this compilation, I'll let you know if things have changed, because I have not seen every single interview of Jim Boylan. So here's one.
To stay in the rotation. That's what he needs to do. Stay ready. Let me rephrase. Stay ready. Why is he out of the rotation? Because I said so. The thought of how he...
All right, so I'm gonna comment on that, and then I'm gonna get his reaction. So, anybody that has watched the NBA for as long as I've watched the NBA knows that the media does whatever they can to sow seeds. They do whatever they can because they need the story. They need whatever they can. Now, what Jim Boylan shouldn't do is give them sound bites. That was him giving them a sound bite. I think a little more of a reasonable approach would have been to just give them, even if it's not even a real reason, just give them something suitable that you don't cause any damage with what you're saying, but you also don't give them the ability to try to twist what you're, whatever it is you said into something that it wasn't. That's the one thing you don't want to do. But let's get his reaction.
It's a very jerk thing to say, because I said so. That's just like the media member just wants an answer. Oh, his ankle's still not 100%. Oh, he hasn't showed to me that he deserves to be in the rotation. But because I said so, it's just kind of a nut thing to say.
I mean, when you're the head coach of a franchise where you are commanding men, I'm talking, it could be from 14, maybe 25, maybe 53. When you're in control of that, the amount of men that these coaches are in charge of, sometimes you need to assert yourself. Because as the head coach, you are the commander. You're the commander of your troops. Okay? You're the commander of your troops. If he didn't want to answer the question, he should have just ignored it. That's usually what coaches do. If they don't want to answer a question, they move on to a different question. But I understand why he did it, man, because sometimes you have to put your foot down. You have to let the media members know, I won't be bullied. You're not going to push me into an area where I'm giving you what you want, or I'm giving you some information I shouldn't be giving you. You're not going to bully me. If that's the reason why he said what he said, I can understand that. Dude, it's the same thing that you've seen Marshawn Lynch do. It's the same thing you've seen Russell Westbrook do. There's no difference. Okay, so this is the second clip that he commented on. Let's look at it.
Handled Lowry's minutes with that long gap he had.
Yeah, well, I played him more in the first half. I played him almost the whole first quarter. I looked at him and I thought he was breathing pretty hard in that first quarter, so I gave him a little break and then I got him back in there. Nothing, you ride with some guys for a little bit, you see how it goes, you bring them back. It's just basketball.
You see how that...
And I'm going to stop it right here because I didn't see anything wrong with what he said. And we're talking about Lauri Markkanen here. We're talking about a guy who has had significant injuries that has stunted his, the early part of his career. The early part of his NBA career, we've seen him have injuries that has sidelined him for a while. We've seen him show that he may not be in the best condition to handle the rigors of the NBA game. We've seen that. For anybody that has watched basketball, we've seen that with Lauri Markkanen. This is who they're talking about. But because Lauri Markkanen played fantastic, I guess, in the early part of the game, and Jim Boylan took him out the game and really didn't put him back in for a long time, it's a problem. But let's finish.
Like, inhibit his confidence, though, because he's playing his best basketball for the last 2 weeks, and then he gets benched for 15 minutes and 40.
Who is this reporter? I need him. I need to follow him.
7 straight seconds, and there's not a lot of rhythm there. Do you see how that could be hard on him and his confidence?
I mean, are you saying it is hard on him, or are you saying how it could be, or what?
Well, I'm saying I think it could be hard on him.
Yeah.
We gotta go talk to him still, but
yeah, I don't think so.
And I understand that. All right, your job as an NBA player, okay, is to always be seriously, your job as a professional is to always, even if you don't have the rhythm, is to be able to find the rhythm quickly, okay? This is what separates the pros from the amateurs, All right, this is why you don't see regular people go into an NBA arena, just throw on a jersey and hop out on the floor. Okay, this is what separates the amateurs from the professionals. Professionals, even if you're not in the right mindset for the gear, your job is to find the fucking gear. Like, excuse my language. Your job is to find the gear. Okay, your job is to find the gear. I hate when players make these excuses for the reason why they don't play well. Okay, now, don't get me wrong. Being in a rhythm is a huge part of sports. Being in a rhythm, but what I'm saying is, your job is to find a way to get yourself in that mindset. It's not the coach's job to get you ready. It's not the coach's job. If you know you're going back in the game at some point, it's your job to be mentally ready to do whatever it is you can to help the team win. Now, this is my issue, especially with the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls are always on the verge of looking like they're a good team, but they're never a good team. They're always looking like they're on the verge of making the playoffs, and they never make the playoffs. Zach LaVine always has these moments where he looks like one of the top 5 shooting guards in the NBA, but, it never really amounts to anything. They have so much young talent. Cody White, Zach LaVine, Chandler Hutchinson, Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter, Daniel Gafford. They have all this young talent, but they can't do anything. They cannot do anything. Is that Jim Boylan's fault? Is that Jim Boylan's fault? This is the point of the video. Is that his fault? Is that his fault? Accountability is important, especially when you're trying to fix a problem. Accountability is important. Because if you don't admit to yourself the fault that you have in the problem, which I'm accusing the front office of doing, when you don't admit to the fault you have, especially the players, then you just get caught in this blame game. And I've seen a little bit of this video, and I saw Zach LaVine's reaction. Let me say this, okay? Zach LaVine is the last person in the NBA that should be blaming anybody for the reason why this team is not winning, okay? You are the prohibited, you are the best player. You're the best player. You are the guy. This team will go as far as you will take them. That is the burden of being the best player. See, people want the benefits of winning as the best player, but they never want the responsibility of explaining why they lost. They never want to take up responsibility for that. It's all fun when everybody's looking at you like you're this great player, you're a top 5. Like that's how he looked last year. Last year, not before the quarantine, not the season where the quarantine happened. This year, I'm talking about last year. Zach LaVine, for the first 5-6 months of the NBA season, looked like a top 5 shooting guard, where he was having 30-point, 40-point, 50-point nights. It seemed like this dude was going off every night. This dude had games, but they weren't winning. So let's keep that in perspective. But let's get back to it.
Now, I am not a coach. I'm not an NBA coach, high school coach, college coach. But that's a fact. If you sit out for 14 straight minutes, it don't matter what's going on. You're going to be like, dang, coach like this? Even, especially since Lauri Markkanen was hot at that point. You sit him for that long? Come on, man. It ain't rocket science, baby. It's fast.
All right. And this is my problem with that, is that when Tom Thibodeau was in Chicago, everybody made a big deal about him overworking the players. Like, I believe he was blamed for the injuries to Derrick Rose and how he overworked his players, and he never really took into account the amount of damage it was doing to their bodies and stuff like that. That was a big thing back when Thibodeau was the coach of the Bulls. So now you got this guy who is genuinely concerned for a player who has had an extensive NBA injury history. And we're looking at him like he's the bad guy, man. What was he supposed to do? Keep Markkanen out there so Markkanen can have another pelvic injury? Overworking himself? Like, is that what we were supposed to do? He's a good coach if he allows his young talent to injure themselves by doing too much. Come on, bro. Like there's ways of thinking of, look, when you're a fan, it's hard for you to get out of, what I want. It's hard for fans to get out of the mindset of, this is what I want. This is what I believe I deserve. It's hard for fans to do that. And I understand that. But it's this, like he said, this isn't rocket science. It's not rocket science. When you are the coach and you are responsible for the well-being of grown men who have shown that they can't make sound decisions when it comes to their bodies, they have shown that they are willing, like Jamal Adams said, die on the field. Like, they're willing to do that. When you have to worry about not only the play of the team, the success of the team, the success of the franchise, but you also have to worry about managing these overbearing players who think they know best when they don't. They're just a bunch of fucking kids. The only thing that's different between them being the AAU and the NBA is the age. That's it. The mindset is still the same. Okay? This is not rocket science, okay? That's the difference between thinking about it like a fan and thinking about it like a grown man. Okay? Let's go. Let's get to it.
It's not in stone.
He's a bad guy. Bad coach.
Jim, we know Gafford was on the active roster. Was he healthy enough to play?
I thought
Shout out to KC.
that he was available, which was good, but I didn't play him tonight. So
Was he healthy enough?
I thought he was available, which is good, but I didn't play him tonight. Now, some of you, if you're not a Bulls fan, you would understand. You wouldn't understand the terribleness in that statement. Because who was probably playing minutes instead of Daniel Gafford? Luke Cornett, who might be the worst center I've seen since Felicio, who's also on the roster.
Okay, so again, this is another thing. I don't have a problem with Jim Boylen. Sometimes you have to make decisions like this. Like when Greg Popovich make decisions like this, where he chooses to sit players, like when coaches that in people's mind have the cachet to do, make these decisions where they sit players, even if the player doesn't want to sit, they sit the players. I mean, is it as criticized as Jim Boylen is being right now? Or not just by King of the Fourth Quarter. No, don't get me wrong. It's not an attack on him. I'm just evaluating the fans' perspective. Okay? Like I said, the dude is he is an incredibly knowledgeable YouTube analyst when it comes to the game. And the reason why I scoffed a little bit at the YouTube analyst thing, because I didn't know how better to put it. Like, so I just went with YouTube analyst. But he's the better ones. Okay? Dude is incredibly knowledgeable. Don't get me wrong. But the mindset of the fan is poisoned. Okay? It is poison, and it infects everything you say. The mind of the fan infects everything you say, like a disease. Because the moment you make one statement that you're basing it off of emotion rather than actual substance, it pretty much discredits any information you put out on the subject after that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes we just need to chill. Sometimes we just need to chill, man. Look, it's easy to blame the head coach, especially when you don't like the head coach. It's easy to blame the head coach. But Jim Boylen hasn't been the head coach for this team for the last 5 or 6 years. He's not responsible for the state of this team. Granted, is he making it better? Probably not. But you can't just change the culture of terribleness that the Bulls have been under for the longest time and turn this team into a winning franchise overnight. Sometimes you need a few things. You need the confidence of the front office. You need the confidence of the players. You need to deal with the media in the way you see fit, because the media can sow seeds of dissension, and it could infect the players' minds, and it could put thoughts in their minds, which will turn into action at some point. And the worst thing that can happen to a head coach is when the players who are supposed to be your subordinates, the players come out and start speaking against you. That's the worst thing that can happen as a head coach. Because then it looks like you've lost the confidence of the locker room. If the front office doesn't come out to defend you, you lost the confidence of the front office. I mean, it's just a bad look. It's just a bad look. And I think right now Jim Boylan took on a job that I guess he believed he could handle. It's not working out, and now he's the scapegoat, man, because that's all Jim Boylan is right now, is the scapegoat. All right, this video is 20 minutes long, so I'm going to finish this clip, and I'm going to try to do a part 2. Now, what I'm trying to do is, like I always do with my videos, I'm trying to limit the amount of what I show in the video and just fill it more up with my own information. But what I'm starting to do is chop down the clips that I show to like 30 seconds. I try not to exceed 30 seconds. But, you know, because I don't want any copyright things or anything like that. But I feel like sometimes I have a perspective that I just want to get out there. I don't want to make money off these videos. I'm not really worried about, I say this all the time, I'm not worried about the views. Don't care. I mean, if one person comes in, finds what I'm saying is good information and they enjoy it, that's great. That's great. That's all it is. This is a cathartic way of me dealing with the buffoonery. The buffoonery I am forced to deal with on a daily basis. So let's just finish the clip up.
Daniel Gafford, even though he was a rookie, he was really nice for us. So the fact that he was active and you felt he was good enough to go and you didn't play him and we end up losing.
Up to play?
I didn't play him tonight. I just wasn't going to play him with our two centers. So
Was it because of health, or was it because you had Felicio ahead of him in the rotation?
Felicio is one of the two centers.
Combination of a couple things.
Now, they're talking about Cristiano Felicio, who's been a power forward / big man, I guess, for the last 5 years for the Chicago Bulls. And he has been unproductive, I guess. He's been unproductive. But is Jim Boylan the guy that brought him in? No. Jim Boylan didn't... I don't... Like, most of the players that's on this team, Jim Boylan wasn't the one that brought them in. They were already here. Okay? He's just doing the best he can with the roster that he was given. Let's try to take it easy on the guy.
Is he still wobbly on that ankle?
See, Jim Boylan he came from Pop, so he tries to answer like Pop, but you don't have the resume to do Pop things. Pop can answer.
Who's to say that Pop has the resume to do Pop things? Some might consider Popovich to be an asshole. Some might consider Popovich to be unnecessarily just vague and... I'm trying to find the right word. I don't want to just throw a word out there. But some might consider him to be abrasive. Unnecessarily abrasive. Now, we've seen situations where Pop talks to the media and he actually reacts like a normal person. And that could be because he has a relationship with certain people. That's fine. But we have seen Pop be unnecessarily abrasive. Okay? You know... And if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. But we can't sit here and not judge Pop on that same scale that we're judging Jim Boylan, because Pop has had more years, more success than Jim Boylan. I mean, like isn't the world hold on. Isn't the world about being fair, treating everybody fairly now? Like this is what isn't this what all the protesting is about? Like everybody wants fair treatment, right? So how can you say a coach like Popovich, who has been in the league for 20 years or so, who has won 5 NBA championships, and he's allowed to say what he wants when he wants to the media, but because Jim Boylan is a first-year head coach who is having an unceremoniously failed season, like he's just like, it's not good, because he doesn't have the cachet or he doesn't have the resume of a Greg Popovich. He's not allowed to answer questions like that. That's kind of, I don't know, man. It's kind of twisted. It's kind of twisted. Now, this is my thinking. Either everyone is equal or no one is equal. One or the other, man. Like, we can't sit here and try to use that equality shit when it suits us, but when it doesn't fit the argument that we're trying to make, we're ready to discount it. I think people do that a little bit too much with information. You're willing to discount the information because it doesn't fit your argument. until it does, and then that's when the information is prevalent again. We got to stop getting into that mindset. I mean, sure, Jim Boylan has not won 5 NBA championships, but I believe as a man, he has the right to answer a question any way he wants. Now, he also has the right to take whatever criticism comes his way, but as a man, he has the right to say whatever he feels. As long as I feel, no, he has the right to say what he feels, even if it's harmful. He has the right to say what he feels. That's just my opinion. But I think this is unwarranted right now. But I'm gonna start up another video, man. I feel like I'm going off, man, because it's been a while since I did this, man. But this is just normally what I do, man. I try to jam pack this shit full of information as much as I can, man. But I'll see y'all in the part 2, hopefully.